think the users are still there?
They better be. I don't want to bust out of here and find nothing but a lot of cold circuits waiting for me.
Bruce had the assignment, which in some ways is the most difficult one of all, to be sort of the Dudley Do-Right, the hero. Originally, I think as the part was conceived, I think it was more of an older sort of beaten warrior type. You know, the film had as its inspiration on some level the sort of Spartacus energy of a sort of Kirk Douglas.
I had been doing westerns for the most part. And so I was doing a movie for NBC called I Married Wyatt Earp. And I know it's a funny title, but it's the actual memoirs of Josephine Marcus Earp. And we were doing it out in Arizona. And I got a call or message in my hotel that a script would be coming. Would I take a look at it and get back to my agent as fast as possible on it? So eventually I brought it to work one day, one early morning, and I was sitting on a horse way out in the middle of the desert, and in my full Wyatt Earp thing with a huge spirit-gummed handlebar mustache and the whole works. And I'm sitting on the saddle while they're lighting, and I'm reading this thing called Tron by Steven Lisberger. And I'm just so out of that world, have no clue as to what it's about. And I said, no, man, I don't even know what this is. What is this?
Bruce Boxleitner had a hard time picturing himself as a video hero in a Disney movie. I don't think he was very into video games at the time. He's sort of a aw shucks kind of guy back then. I mean, he had his ranch and his horses, and he's sort of a Jimmy Stewart type.
They offered it to me again, and I said, please, and now we want you to come in. So I'm nearing the end of this TV movie, and I come in, and I meet Steven, and I believe Richard Taylor, and Don Kushner, and then it's a whole different story. I saw storyboards, I saw all kinds of things. And then the biggest plus for me on this thing was that it was a feature at Disney. Wow. And Jeff Bridges had signed on. And I said, my God, really? Okay, I'll do it.
Alan.
Where did you hear that name?
Well, that's your name, isn't it?
The name of my user.
I thought he did a great job in, walking that fine line of, not being like a kind of a robot, but, adding a certain degree of humanity to the part of Tron.
Barnard Hughes was our elder statesman who fell right in there with us. He got sucked right in. One of my favorite people was my adversary. And David Warner, who was a very eccentric, and is a very eccentric British actor. He had his way, but as I remember, David was the thinnest man I'd ever met. Annie Shore, I mean, when you see the film, he's this sort of little wiry guy, and he's got a kind of a quirky, almost like a slightly Brooklyn-type accent going there if you look at the film.
My friends, my fellow conscripts, we have scored. I feel so much better.
With Jeff and Bruce, we were just kids in a candy store.
When they showed us the costumes, I said, you've got to be kidding. Where are the pants? Where are the pants?
One of the more painful things about the show as well was a dance belt. I had to wear a dance belt, and it's very much like a jock strap, except instead of having two straps in the back, you have one. Well, the girls all know about this. I guess it's a G-string, isn't it? But it made it very painful to sit down. There wasn't much sitting down on the set of Tron because of that.
That became a joke throughout the shoot for all of us actors. Jeff, how's your dance belt today? A little tight, a little tight.
The set was littered with all of the latest video games. You can imagine all the cast and crew wanting to rally them to get back to work, and they say, well, wait, just 1 second, and that was often the case. And Steven was often right in there, too,
I think that it was difficult for the actors to walk onto an all-black stage every day.
There's a piece of tape X'd right there, and that's what you're to be looking at. That's where you're going to run, or that's the enemy. That's the bad guys. That's Sark coming at you there. You're looking off in the distance at him. And Steven is directing us in these things, very much like the early silent films, you know. Until we had to say something. All right, you're looking off. You're seeing it. It's coming at you. It really brought me back to much more of a theater experience. Because I believe on stage, you know, so many kinds of plays that I did, there was no scenery. It was very much like that on Tron. And you created the world for the audience, and we very much had to do that ourselves with your imagination. You know, you had to paint that picture with your words and everything for your audience. When we're entering, there's this huge, thick door.
Now that is a big door.
That was done at night, and right next to where we were shooting, they had roped off and said some radioactive spillage had happened. There were signs warning, don't cross this rope. And I'm going, that's just that rope? It's going to stop? That's, you know, we're walking, the guys are dragging cables around the area. I said, how do we know it didn't drip over this way? I had to master, or somewhat be fairly athletic with the disc thing. Steven wanted to test me, and he got kind of angry with me. He said, I want to see what you can do. I don't think you've been doing the work you need to be doing, and I want to see what you can do. We're going to be shooting this thing this week, and blah, blah, blah. And it got a little... And I think he was... And I'm sure of it now. He was kind of really trying to anger me. Get me up there. And I said, it's like, oh, you want high noon? Is that what you want? You want a showdown? Okay. And so there we are on the black set. Big old soundstage. Everyone's gone for lunch. And there was one shot that I knew he thought that he was going to get me on. And I'm so very proud because it is in the final thing. When you imagine someone throwing a Frisbee right at your head, very hard, ducking it and catching it as it's passed over your head. It went like this, and before it leaves, comes, whoa! And he was up on a big ladder. And he shot it straight down at me. And I caught that thing, I think it was like the first take. I just, boom, like there. And I just looked up at him defiantly. And he just yelled, cut, cut. And then he just broke into a big grin with that beard of his. And, you know, he thought, that's it, man. And everybody was going, whoa, you know, like...